Today, as you all mentioned, our goal in life is basically have a fruitful and fulfilling life. We want our life to be as auspicious as possible. So when we say fruitful or fulfilling, we human beings, if we look at us, one of the most driving factors in all of us is hope. I hope you all agree with that, because hope is the fundamental role that plays in every human being. When we say hope, the backbone of human resilience, the backbone of human motivation. Correct? See, every day when we get up, what is there? We do have a hope. Hope to do things perfect, hope to have a meaningful day, hope to achieve or hope to do something better than yesterday. Right? And when we say hope, this is only for human beings. How about animals? Do they have hope? Or do they have the free will? Do they have the fair capacity to initiate a further process of evolution? When someone was saying today that when we do certain things, there is a kind of a void or a lacking within, and that also triggers that what am I doing? Can I do something better? Can I do something beyond whatever I am doing? So that is where we do have a free will. That this is the fair capacity in all of us to initiate a further process of evolution. Whereas in animals, they don't have. They are impulsive. They are instinctive. We do have the choice to design our life. Right? So life is all about what you make out of the best. And that best is there within all of us. In one of the famous scriptures, Srimad Bhagavata, the Bhagavata Purana, mentions that human beings only have got the fair capacity to evolve. Human beings can only achieve the fulfillment or wholesomeness. Brahmava loka dishanam mudamapa deva. So they only can experience the wholesomeness. As per Srimad Bhagavata, it's Brahma Sakshatkar, the Parama Shreyas, the ultimate goal in life. When you mention that I need to have values in life, I need to do something better for the good of a community, I need to balance things in life. Ultimately, the goals that we all have converge into one aspect. That is basically, we need to be happy always. Whatever we do, we need to be happy always. We need to have perfection in life. And at the same time, we don't want sorrows or troubles to come in life, right? Dukkha nivritti. We cannot afford to have sorrows coming. What we need always happiness, paramananda prapti. That is what we all are trying to do. A meaningful life, fulfilling life, an abundant life, a life with fun, life with value. And what are we doing? We are trying to fulfill things in life. And again, depending on the external things, and those external things will not stay forever. And we are trying to derive perfection from the external world. where those things will not stay forever. We are not knowing this. We are always in this circle of delusion. That is where internally we feel a kind of dissatisfaction, a kind of self dissatisfaction within us. Why? Because we are trying to chase things which are outside, and we are trying to get perfection out of those things where they themselves will not last forever. And our goals are also changing from time to time. Once upon a time, in a beautiful garden, in a tree, two golden birds, they lived very peacefully. When I say lived peacefully, living together, and these birds living in a tree, they enjoy the fruits and they are in golden color. The first bird understood that there are a lot of branches, so they were at the lower branch, and the first bird understood that there are a lot of branches while we go up, started exploring the fruits one branch up, whereas the second bird did not accompany the first bird. The first bird started enjoying the sweet fruits from the branches which are above. So then the first bird again felt that, yeah, why can't I explore? Why can't I try out the fruits from the top branches? Let me go up. So when the bird started going up, then it started getting the sour fruits. So probably sometimes sweet, sometimes sour. That bird started enjoying, because sometimes sour is also okay along with sweet. Then it went up, started tasting the bitter fruits. So the combination of sweet, sour, bitter, okay, somehow manageable. Then why can't I go up and see what is there? I may get something better. It went up further, started experiencing the severe bitter fruits, and the color of the bird also got changed to black. Started worrying. At that point of time, the first bird looked at the second bird. The second bird staying at the lower branch, staying peacefully. Though this is the story of two birds, this is the story of human beings. We are always trying to chase things after one another. But the good part is, the first bird understood that the second bird is peaceful, relaxed. There must be something in that bird that is making the bird very unique. But most of the human beings won't understand. They chase one after another and will get into trouble and will not be able to use the capacity to think. So desires in life, right? We are always trying to be peaceful in life. We are always trying to enjoy, find out sukham, anandam from the different things. We are always looking outside. I'm not saying that we should not look outside, because we have to transact in this world. In this bird story, the first bird got trapped into the transaction and ultimately it lost the inner peace. Whereas the second bird, still doing the transaction at that plane, at that branch, not losing the inner calm. The dependency is on the inside strength, not at the transactions, not on the transactions, at the outside or outward transactions, because we have to do transactions, but the real dependence is on the inside. Similarly, we all aim for peaceful life, happy life. That is where the Shastram says that happiness is available within ourselves only. We cannot have perfection from the external things. And that happiness or that perfection is not available outside. This is the declaration of the Shastra. So seeking things outside cannot make us happy. So in this bird story, searching outside, going from one branch to another branch for being happy is a misplaced search. Similarly, we human beings also search outside, and this search is a misplaced search. Misplaced search for perfection or happiness outside, where it is not available. So the search should be meaningful. If you lose your gold chain inside the water, in the river, is there a point in searching the chain at your home? And you are very clear that while taking a dip, the chain got lost. Is there a point in searching the chain at home? You need to search where it is available, where it could be available. Similarly, the search for happiness should also be done where it is available. So the question comes now, why we all do this mistake? The reason is basically our inner perfection, the inner potential, the inner treasure is overshadowed. This inner perfection is the perfect. This is free from all fetters. But this perfection is covered by the mind. And mind acting with the influence of the material world. Whereas our inner core is the embodiment of the happiness. And it doesn't come from any external things. So our inner nature, the true nature is in the form of happiness. And what we are trying to do is basically we are trying to see that or seek that happiness from the external things. Shruti again says, Shantoyam Atma. The very nature of our self is happiness or peace. And this peace is always within us. And this peace of our own self, true self, can never be taken away from us. And this peace never undergoes any change or any modifications. And this peace is always available within us. Before we get into Bhagavad Gita, we can see the first chapter, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna's Vishada. So the treatment is basically bring knowledge about the self. So Arjuna's Vishadam is all about not having knowledge about the self. Bhagavan Krishna says, Jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. So the issue is our mind is clouded, our mind is cluttered, and this perfection is already there within us. So how to discover this? It is not a discovery, it is all about recognizing. So who can help? Only our mind. Our mind has to evolve. Mind has to realize the higher reality within us. Whereas our mind is currently associated with the weak links of the material world. So, Gita Shastram helps us to use our mind as a tool to gain this knowledge. And when our mind evolves, mind will realize the higher reality, and that will automatically happen. So when our mind evolves, mind will be able to see the source of inherent happiness within, the capacity to expand, the capacity to explore the inner freedom, the capacity to explore the inner strength, the capacity to explore the inner freedom that is away from all the sorrows, the capacity to see the perfection, the capacity to see the true happiness. So Bhagavan Krishna, in the end of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 62nd verse, Tameva Sharanam Gacha Sarva Bhavena Bharata Tat Prasadat Param Shantim Sthanam Prapsyasi Shashvatam. Hey, by total surrender, you all will be able to see the treasure within. You will be able to attain peace. You will also be able to locate that stability within. You will also be able to see the core or center, the stable anchorage. So when the mind is attuned, that mind will settle at that source, mind will settle at that silence, the mind will settle at that perfection. So Bhagavad Gita as a Shastram helps us to maneuver or tackle our mind. Mind, by the innate nature, always try to go out. Right? Mind is always under the influence of the external things. Mind always go out through the 5 sense organs, correct? Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So these 5 senses gather the kind of information, and whereas our mind, what it does, the mind creates different kind of perceptions or assumptions without knowing the underlying reality or truth. Right? The indriyas get the information and the mind does the processing, so called as the perceptions or assumptions, without validating with the truth. We can say a heap of wrong perceptions or assumptions are created by the mind out of the data that the senses are gathering. So these are kind of a disturbing virus, where the mind will label those perceptions as truth by forgetting the actual reality. That is what is happening. When we look at something, we frame perceptions without knowing the underlying reality. Let me ask a question here before we get into Bhagavad Gita today. When we say Bhagavad Gita, what comes in your mind in the form of a symbol or a picture or a sankalpa? What comes in our mind first? What comes in our mind?
That old poster of
the Radha Sankalpa, the chariot allegory, right? That metaphor of Radha Sankalpa. Am I right? That's what you are trying to refer. Yeah. So then let me ask a question. What we have understood from that poster, that chariot allegory or metaphor?
that has changed a lot. In the previous class also, the entire concept of Gita has been changed. Like apart from the verbal meaning, there is a lot of things to understand.
Yeah. So we can see the 5 horses. Bhagavan Krishna as the Partha Sarathi, and in the chariot Arjuna is the owner of the chariot, Bhagavan as the Partha Sarathi, and the 5 horses, right? And 5 horses taking the chariot front. So at this point of time, let me use the verses from the Kadhopanishad, 6th Valli, Aram Valli. The chariot allegory. Atmanam redhinam vidhi shariram redhamevatu buddhim tu saradim vidhi manapragraha evacha indriyani hayanyahu vishayamsteshu gocharan atmendriya manoyuktam bhoktetyahur manishina. Atmanam redhinam vidhi shariram radhamevadu buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manapragraham evacha indriyani hayanyahur vishayamsteshu gocharan atmendriya manoyuktam bhoktetyahur manishina. So this is basically the relationships. Here the human body as the chariot, intellect or buddhi as the driver of the chariot, Bhagavan Krishna. The 5 senses as the horses: sight, taste, smell, touch and hearing. Right? Those 5 horses carrying the chariot through the world, responding to the external stimuli, and mind is represented as the reins that controls and directs the senses, focused towards specific objects or experiences. The self or Atman is the passenger who witnesses the actions of the body, mind and senses. See, here the senses or the horses, they can lead us astray into wrongdoing or off the track if they are not controlled by the mind and intellect. If the intellect and the mind, if the driver and the passenger, if both are disciplined and guided properly, that journey becomes harmonious, right? With the self navigating life with a clarity and purpose. So the self, the passenger, is protected by whom? Is protected by the intellect, by the buddhi. This self, this passenger, is in the cave of intellect. That is why Bhagavan Krishna is called as the Vijnana Sarathi, the one who, the intellect who guides Arjuna. And when the Jiva positions the Lord, when the Jiva positions the intellect in front, the Jiva will not be able to see the limitations because intellect is driving the Jiva. Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna as the key, Bhagavan Krishna as the guiding principle, Bhagavan Krishna as the charioteer who is directing or driving the Arjuna. Gita is all about the Sarva Vedanta Sara Sangraha. It's the essence of Vedas and Upanishads. Gita as a Shastram is an enabler to discover the fulfillment in life. Gita as a Shastram encourages our pursuit of growth, directing towards a greater goal rather than being distracted or disturbed by the temporary experiences or the pulse of the world. So what we have to work upon? We have to work upon the mind. Let me also beautifully quote the 6th chapter's Bhagavad Gita 5th verse in the Dhyana Yoga. Uddhared Atman Atmanam na Atmanam avasadayed. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhur atmaiva ribur atmana. So when I say mind as a tool, here Bhagavan says mind can be your friend or an enemy. Mind as a tool, when used in the right manner, helps us in our own upliftment. Mind with the help of buddhi, Arjuna with the help of Bhagavan Krishna. So here Atma Uddharana, one should uplift the self and should not degrade. Mind can become your enemy, mind can become your friend. The mind can be used in whatever way we want. Can be used as a friend, can be used as a foe. So the key is in our progress. And who can make the progress? Our mind can only make progress. How the mind can make the progress? Mind can make progress through self-efforts, own efforts, self-discipline. Not by allowing the elements that degrades our growth. Mind has to be fine-tuned with the virtues, cultivating the right virtues, sadguna or devi sambat. For what? To create a positive environment for our own growth. And when the mind inculcates the negative qualities such as anger, greed, ego, etc., that will lead to the wrong understanding, that will lead to the self-destruction. So here Bhagavan says, take charge of our own journey, our own growth. Bhagavan says two words, Adhyatma Nityatva, the steadiness in practice. And second is Acharya Upasanam, stay with the teacher. Here teacher is Bhagavan Krishna, who guides us every time. You all might have heard about the story of a beggar who had a treasure of a box of treasure. So this beggar lived on the streets without a home and asking the people for spare changes, sitting on a box. And this box is inherited from his father and not aware of what is there inside the box, daily begging for his daily bread, living in poverty without any knowledge of the treasure that lay inside the box. He never knew what is inside. So what happened? As a part of the road expansion, the PWD department came and said, hey, you have to move. So he was forced to move his place from the street. And what happened? He lifted the box. He felt the box very heavy. And out of the curiosity, right, his curiosity got the better of him and decided to open it finally. So to his shock, he found the box filled with gold coins, diamonds, more than enough to make him a wealthy man. He was stunned. And what happened? His father, he had left him this fortune, but he had never known it. He had never known about those wealth within the box. Though this is a story, this is the story of all of us. We all are sitting on the chest of wealth. We are sitting on a hidden potential. We are sitting with the enormous resources that we have not recognized. This can only be discovered when we open our eyes, being mindful, and listen to the wisdom that is taught and showed by our great masters. And those wisdom codified in the form of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is the source of fulfillment, right? You are the source of fulfillment. You are the source of happiness. Now it is hidden by wrong influences. You remove those layers of covering. You remove the layers of wrong understanding. Or you remove the layers of not able to understand or comprehend. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, if you see, every chapter ends as Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu. How is it? Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. That chapter. Yoga Shastram and Brahma Vidya. Bhagavad Gita is the Shastram to build not only the spiritual quotient, because this is the backbone of our all other quotients. Bhagavad Gita is the backbone of all other quotients. When I say all other quotients, including your emotional quotient, intellectual quotient, social quotient, adversity quotient, you can appreciate Arjuna coming out of his despondency. Adversity quotient, including the physical quotient, what food you should eat, how the food influences your mind. So Gita as a Shastram is the Yoga Shastram and the Brahma Vidya that equips all of us to have perfection in our life. And through different ways of yoga, through Karma Yogam, through Bhakti Yogam, through Upasana Yogam, through Jnana Yogam, and few should use the mix of yogams. For who are more action oriented should start with Karma Yogam. That we will see later. And in our Sanatana Dharma, we all know that our fundamental text is Veda. And Veda has 4 parts. The Mandram, the first part is the Mandram or the Samhita. The second part is the Brahmana part. Third is the Aranyaka. And fourth is the Upanishad. Mandram, Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Upanishad. The Brahmana Bhaga is basically the Karma Kandam or the Karma Yoga. The Aranyaka part is the Upasana Yoga, the path of meditation. The Upanishad Bhaga, the Upanishad part is the Jnana Yoga. And the Mantra Bhaga is all about the prayers or the blessings that we have to seek to favor our growth, to favor the blessings from the God. Bhagavad Gita as a Shastram is mentioned as the Sarva Vedanta Sara Sangraha Bhudam Gita Shastra. And it is a very small work, small composition with 700 plus verses. Why I am stressing this part is basically Sarva Vedanta Sara Sangraha. In this modern world, it is very difficult to study the Vedas and all Upanishads. So, the easiest way is basically minimum we learn Bhagavad Gita and know Bhagavad Gita. Before we get into Bhagavad Gita, we will see the importance of the prayer verses. Bhagavad Gita Dhyana Slokas, 9 verses. To start anything auspicious, it is very important to do the mandram. So Dhyana Sloka plays a major role here. Auspicious beginning. Not only that, to maintain the continuity, because we all will have different challenges. In order to overcome those challenges and in order to get the continuous blessings, the Gita Dhyana Slokas need to be chanted, and that will be followed in all our sessions. So before writing the commentary to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Acharya Madhusudana Saraswati, he is the one who created these 9 prayer verses or Bhagavad Gita Dhyana Slokas. For the commentary that Madhusudana Saraswati Swami created, the commentary called as Gudhartha Deepika, these 9 verses are made or written. For what? To have the auspicious beginning, also to remove the obstacles. So here the 9 verses basically represent or do the prayer to Mahabharata, prayer to Bhagavad Gita, invoking the mother of wisdom, Saraswati, prayer to the author, Bhagavan Vedavyasa, also the prayer to Bhagavan Krishna, who is the Guru. So what I expect is basically we all should chant, we all should learn the Gita Dhyana Sloka. Maybe in our group also you need to chant, record and put. And I hope you all have the Bhagavad Gita textbook. Let us chant these verses. We will go into the meaning of these verses in the next session. Om Parthaya Pradibodhidam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gradidam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrudavarshiniim Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini Ambatvamanusandhadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Namostu Devyasa Vishala Buddhe Phullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajwalido Jnanamaya Pradipa Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetriga Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Mradaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Thokta Gopalanandana Partho Valsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamrudam Mahat Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadrona Tada Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Kannena Velakula Ashwadhama Vegarna Ghora Magara Duryodhana Vartini Sothirna Khalu Pandavairananadi Kahivartaga Keshava Parasharya Vajasaroja Mamalam Gidartha Gandotkadam Nanakhyanaga Kesaram Harikata Sambodhana Bodhidam Loge Sajjana Shatpadeiraharaha Pebiyamanam Muda Bhuyat Bharata Pangajam Kalimala Radhvam Sinasreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panghum Lankayade Girin Yatkrupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marudastunvandi Divyaistave Vede Sangapadakrammo Vanishadeir Gayandiyam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgadena Manasa Pashyandiyam Yogino Yasyandam Navidusura Suragana देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः